This is Plant-Based Briefing, Eating Our Way to Extinction Film Review by Bronwyn Slater at vegansustainability.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson, and this is the curated content plant-based podcast where I narrate a variety of articles on plant-based, compassionate, and eco-friendly living with permission in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. I'm a voiceover artist by profession. You can find me at plantpoweredvo.com or plantpoweredvoiceover.com. And I do this podcast as my passion project. I love researching all this stuff anyway. There's so much news and new things coming out about plant-based and vegan living, and about the climate emergency, of course, as well. And I love being able to share it in audio format. If you'd like, you can support the podcast in a few ways. Simply by sharing it with others is a great way to support it. Word of mouth is a great way to get other people to listen, and I really want more people to hear all this amazing information. So you can share it with them directly, share it on your social media. You can also rate or review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon. And you can buy some merchandise, which directly helps pay some of the podcast hosting expenses. I have plant-based and vegan apparel, kitchen aprons, tea towels, coffee mugs, that kind of thing. And you can find that at plantbasedbriefing.com/shop. And 10% of proceeds go to a local animal sanctuary called Changing Hearts Farm. So I appreciate any and all support, of course, but really would love your help reaching more people because I just want this message to get out there. And today's episode is from vegansustainability.com. It's a free online quarterly magazine for vegans and non-vegans worldwide who are interested in the environment and sustainability. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. Eating Our Way to Extinction Film Review by Bronwyn Slater at vegansustainability.com. A superb documentary that looks at the true cost of what we eat. Quote, "This is the film future generations will be wishing everyone watched today." Unquote. Leonardo DiCaprio. The long-awaited documentary Eating Our Way to Extinction, directed by brothers Ludo and Otto Brockway and narrated by Kate Winslet, is available to watch on Amazon Prime Video. I have to say it is an excellent film, and it is evident that a lot of time and research went into the making of it. The film was made over the course of 4 years, spans many continents, and features stunning cinematography. This is not an animal rights documentary as such, although animal cruelty is touched on at times, but there is enough information, even in the first half hour, to make you want to go vegan. Topics that are looked at include deforestation, methane from animals, intensive farming, fish farms, the overuse of antibiotics in farming, zoonotic viruses, ecological collapse, ocean dead zones, and many more. The key point of the movie is that all of these issues can be remedied by moving to a plant-based diet. I've listed a few of the main facts and figures from the film below. These and more are also listed on the film's website, linked here. Wildlife and biodiversity. 68% of wildlife populations are now gone. 84% of freshwater aquatic animals have disappeared. Almost all coral reefs will die by 2050. Biodiversity could reach a tipping point by 2045, threatening all life on Earth. And meat is the biggest threat to wildlife and is the leading cause of biodiversity loss. Food. By 2050, the demand for food will have increased by 70%. By 2050, greenhouse gases associated with food production will have increased by 80%. Without livestock, a plant-based diet could feed an additional 4 billion people. A plant-based diet is the most effective way to reverse biodiversity loss, and a plant-based diet would free up 76% of land for wildlife. Climate change. By 2030, the world will be facing a 40% global water deficit. By 2033, widespread food shortages, unprecedented heat waves, and cyclones will be commonplace. Methane, a greenhouse gas produced by livestock, is 84 times more potent than CO2 over a 20-year period. And by eliminating animal agriculture, we can help to mitigate the worst effects of climate change in a much shorter time frame than we can by reducing CO2. Pandemics and antibiotic resistance. 75% of antibiotics produced around the world are given to livestock. As a result, antibiotics are becoming less potent, Antibiotic resistance is now a major problem for humans as well as animals. And pandemics throughout history have been caused by our toxic relationship with animals, farming them, using them, and being in constant contact with them. Deforestation. 30% of global forest cover has been cleared, while another 20% has been degraded. Much of the rest has been fragmented, leaving only about 15% intact. Livestock are responsible for 80% of Amazon deforestation, and livestock agriculture is by far the greatest threat to forests. Countries that import livestock feed, even if they have minimized forest loss within their own borders, are driving forest destruction in developing countries. Oceans and fishing. Ocean acidification and ocean warming are being caused by increased levels of CO2 in the atmosphere. Ocean dead zones are areas which are depleted of oxygen where organisms and fish cannot thrive. Nitrogen pollution caused by runoff from agriculture is one of the main causes of ocean dead zones. The planet has lost 90% of all large fish since the 1950s. Fishing, overfishing, and trawler fishing are decimating fish populations. The majority of fish we eat now are factory farmed and intensively reared. Farmed fish is not the solution. Conditions on fish farms are horrific, with fish suffering from disease and deformities. Massive quantities of antibiotics are added to the water. Locals complain of pollution. Farmed fish are fed genetically modified corn and soy, which is being grown in the Amazon on deforested land. They are also fed about 20 million tons of wild-caught fish converted to fish meal. And the majority of the plastic waste in our oceans is from discarded fishing gear. The film also looks at the world of high-level corruption. A meat industry lobbyist is featured who claims to charge €500,000 to get legislation passed in favor of his clients. It also talks about the billions of euros in EU livestock farming subsidies, which could easily be used to help farmers transition from animal to plant-based farming. Public figures and researchers featured in the movie include Jeremy Rifkin, Marco Springman, Joseph Poore, Dr. Michael Greger, Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, and more. The key takeaway from the film is that the future is bleak unless we move en masse to a plant-based diet. It is a film that should be seen by everyone, and I would love to see it being screened by some of the major TV channels. It is currently available on Amazon, and you can view the trailer linked here. You just listened to Eating Our Way to Extinction film review by Bronwyn Slater at vegansustainability.org. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson, and this is a fantastic film. We watched it on Amazon. I think that's still the only place you can watch it. But you can check that out for sure, as well as facts and information at eatingtoextinction.com. That's the number 2, eatingtoextinction.com. It's such a great film. It's one of my favorites, because it appeals to people interested in the climate emergency, first and foremost, but it also explains the health implications, the horrors of animal agriculture and zoonotic diseases. It covers a lot. So please check it out, and check out the website for all of the facts they have listed. It's a great resource, and please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.